I know we say too sweet when we talk about the NWO, but this one is sadly bittersweet. What are the scrapped NWO plans for WrestleMania this year? We'll get into that. Plus, the reason they were brought in has some connection to this. WWE 2K, the much maligned, sometimes criticized, sometimes praised video game relationship between WWE and one of the biggest video game studios. What is that status? Is it going forward? Is it going to be something we see? Wardlow, how come he got booted from the AEW roster page on their website? Oh, MJF and those shenanigans. Always MJF and something. And Hurricane Helms, a very cool update on him and his wrestling future. So much to get into on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling Top Story of the Day.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out.
Watch out.
Watch out. There we are. We are watching out. One of these days, I want to be able to do one of those intros without flubbing over my words. We'll get into something here today. I'm Kev Kellam. That is Jose G and Jeremy Bennett. Maybe a buzzkills loaded today, Jeremy? Do you have any buzzkills?
I got a buzzkill to that 2K story, though.
Okay. All right. Good. We have something there. We'll get into something. We are a few weeks out from WrestleMania, and there are some small developments more into the product world of WWE. And we'll keep things going here. We have our big WrestleMania Trivia Showdown this Saturday, going down at noon Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Am I correct at that time? Or am I flipping the times here?
Eastern Standard Time.
Yep. Noon Eastern, 1 p.m. Yeah. We'll have Robert from Fightful.com with us as well. Rick Ush defending that Sportskeeda Trivia Championship in the 3 faces of SP3. It's pretty fun if you're a fan. And apparently there was a plan in works for quite some time for the NWO, Kevin Nash, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and Scott Hall there to be a part of this year's WrestleMania week with an appearance. This ties into them being part of the special rollout for WWE 2K22, one of the most expensive versions of the game they've ever put out. So what happened here? And obviously the passing of Scott Hall affecting this, but what the role would have been, we don't exactly know. Tip of the cap to Fightful Select for breaking this story. What do we know, fellas?
Right now, we don't know much. We don't know what they were going to include. They just know that they were going to do a promotional spot for the video game. There was nothing in regards to what the plan was for them at WrestleMania, and still not sure if there are still plans. It could turn into a tribute with Hall, for Nash and Hogan to show up. Of course, you got X-Pac as well, part of the NWO. So this could turn into a tribute of some sort, which would be pretty cool to see.
I think that's the right thing to do this year. I think fans enjoy it. It's something you see at the Oscars, the in memoriam tributes. Maybe it's something we get to see at the Hall of Fame. I don't think fans would be opposed to it. I know there's so much flack from the outside world into the world of wrestling. We're always in this bubble that too many wrestlers die young and all these different sad things. And Scott had a very public, battle with substance abuses and various different health issues, but obviously also had a very public victory over it at different periods in his life. And I don't think shaming people for those type of things is empathetic or dignified anymore either. And it is a part of wrestling, that it is denying reality. But also at the same time, I think it'd be touching. There's a lot of hardcore Lifetime wrestling fans that go to WrestleMania. I think they would appreciate it.
Yeah, I also think that we're probably, if they do some type of tribute to the NWO and Scott Hall, we're probably going to get a double dose of it. I think they'll do it at the Hall of Fame, and they might end up doing it either night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania, just to kind of give that recap that they do during WrestleMania of the Hall of Fame. And they can kind of do it twice during the entire weekend. So this is great. I think this would have been a fantastic visual, if Scott Hall would have still been with us, but they can still do something pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes, you brought back Tupac at at Coachella in projection, right? So you could do the same thing with Scott Hall, man.
And this could be a good slot for a surprise return of Triple H, maybe Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Sean Waltman, the Click. Maybe this turns into a DX and NWO thing, but not versus each other like it was whatever it was, I think 34, 32, whatever it was. But it turns into a tribute with both Triple H and Shawn, and then the other members of the NWO.
Yeah, it's definitely something where I think, especially WrestleMania weeks, there is this heightened level of long-term fan service. And WWE's done it the past few years. I think they did that when they had Sting versus Triple H. I know some people didn't like the finish, but the pop when the NWO came out and interfered on Sting's behalf, the WCW side versus the D-Generation side, the fan service was through the roof. It was just
why did Triple H go over in that match? Why?
I know, but like there was still a lot of fun things on that show.
Yeah,
and WWE likes doing that at WrestleMania, and fans like seeing it at WrestleMania. There's going to be fan service with Stone Cold being there.
What?
So there's gonna be a lot of stuff there. So it'll be
31. That was the best RKO in history. Also, when
that's the one in Texas, right?
No, it was outdoors.
San Francisco, right?
Yeah,
San Francisco. Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was when Rollins went for the stomp and got into the RKO. Probably the best RKO in history, between that and Evan Bourne for sure.
Who knows?
I don't know about that moonsault one he recently did on Gable Steveson.
Yeah,
on Gable. Well, it was pretty awesome.
Wait a minute.
All right, so WWE 2K22 has come out. It has gotten fairly strong reviews, some bad reviews. They put out some patches this week on it. But there's been debate here, is this the last game we get with WWE in 2K Studios? They've been together here for a significant period of time. The 2K20 game was, for all intents and purposes, a real letdown with a lot of different mistakes on it. But the games move. It's one of the biggest products that WWE puts out besides their own show. This is one of those big products they really put a lot of resources into, and 2K puts a lot of resources into. But do they get the same type of turnover that, WWE would like that 2K gets from other major sports brands like the NBA, for example? So that's been debated. And what is the future here with that contract coming up soon? Jeremy, you are deep in the video game world. What do we know here? Because today we heard news that it was confirmed they're going to continue with 2K, but now there's been some refusal of that. What is the latest here?
Yeah, and actually Fightful has updated their article as well. They had reported just basically on the tweets that were sent out from the official WWE Games account, as well as their community manager, Ronnie, who's mostly famous for working on the NBA 2K side. Ronnie had tweeted out a picture of himself with Stephanie McMahon. And so it almost sounded like that there was going to be a continued partnership. I think that must have probably just snowballed off of those tweets. And then Mike Straw, who is pretty reliable in the gaming world, he's broken some of the Madden news that EA would refute, and then it would turn out to be true a couple of months later. So I think Mike Straw with Sports Gamer Online is pretty reputable and says that WWE has publicly denied it, and this is not the case. There is not a confirmed extension with the series now. There was a celebrity. This was just basically a celebratory photo for the game launch, and possibly the words that Ronnie, their community manager, used were jumping the gun, and it's not the case. So it sounds like it's still as up in the air as it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago when we first reported that it could go to someone like EA Sports or a different publisher. So right now it's actually just no update right now. It's just still kind of up in the air. And those tweets that were sent out today were just celebratory and not an official announcement of continued partnership.
Smoke and mirrors, you think, Jeremy?
I don't know. The meta score for 2K22 is obviously way better than it was for 20. I mean, 20, it was in the 40s, it's never reached that depth. And I think this one, last I checked, it was in the mid-70s.
This is an aggregated score from people, correct?
Aggregated score from publications.
Yeah,
not just people.
And it's interesting because when we started reporting a few weeks ago about the glitches and the EA side of things, I started seeing a lot more positive reviews now. Yeah. So now I'm starting to get more mixed bag of reviews when it comes to this recent version.
PS5 version is sitting at a 76. Xbox Series X version is sitting at a 78. So miles ahead of 20. I have yet to play it yet. I will probably get it on the first sale. I've got enough to play right now. Don't have time to jump into it, so I'll probably get it on its first sale once it drops to 40 or something like that. But beta scores are speaking for itself that it's miles ahead of what 20 was. But again, not an indication of what is actually going to happen, as we do not know yet. And apparently, according to that article with Mike Straw, the WWE has publicly denied that there is a guarantee that it's going to continue. So
certainly an interesting situation here. We have some moves going on with WWE as well that are kind of interesting in terms of other things that they're doing outside of the ring. Shane Hurricane Helms has signed a Legends deal, and I saw so many people respond to this. Now, what is a Legends deal? There's a lot of younger fans that don't know what this is. Basically, what this means is a majority of your appearances, you going in costume and doing autographs and different things like that, majority of, not all of them, tend to be booked through WWE. And you do that through WWE in an official capacity. That also lines you up for more products like merchandise and action figures and all these different things that WWE gets to roll on their platform. Helms has been working with WWE on and off through the pandemic as an agent and producer. He has officially signed a Legends deal. This doesn't mean he'll perform in the ring with him. He'll maybe make appearances and different stuff like we've seen him do. But I heard so many people respond to this who are around my age in their 30s saying, this means I'm officially old. Like, if he signed that, then that means I'm old.
Well, Helms said it himself on the tweet. I'm old. So, he can still wrestle matches.
Just wait a few more years until John Cena signs that contract, that Legends contract. Because John Cena's right around the corner, too.
Stop it,
man.
Stop
it.
I
just saw I just saw the Peacemaker Funko Pops that are coming out in July, and they have, they have your main characters, and then they got one of John Cena with his helmet in his whitey tighties. Fun, one of the funniest pops I've seen. And those are coming out in July. Yeah, I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes. I need to finish the second half of that off. I love that show too.
Gentlemen, am I bad if I add a story I just found that is, I wouldn't describe it as a breaking news story, but certainly something interesting.
Save it for the end. Save it for the end, because we still got one other story that we got to run through.
We got one that we skipped too. This is going to be real quick, though. Tying in with the WrestleMania, it has been announced that there are 5-hour blocks on Peacock for WrestleMania 38. There are 2 out. The pre-show is going to be 2 hours. And each main block for Saturday, Sunday set to be 3 hours. So 5 hours in total for both nights.
I think that gives them a loosey-goosey time. I don't think those are set broadcast times now. With streaming, you kind of, WWE is not tied to the same, we're on the pay-per-view system. The pay-per-view is going to cut us off. We have to be off at a certain time, so they can sell another replay of Jurassic World Dominion or something like that, like another movie that you would have on a pay-per-view channel. So not being bound by those things allows WWE a little bit more room. Doesn't mean those shows are going to be 4.5 hours long. You could have a 3.5 hour show, or a 4-hour show. I don't mind a 4-hour WrestleMania.
I don't know why both nights need a 2-hour pre-show though. I think 1 hour for each night would be plenty.
It's streaming. But... It's video packages. It's
just to get people to get them in. You give them those first 2 hours for free on YouTube, on Facebook, on all those social platforms,
and that's passive. That's passive viewing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's passive viewing. Unless they have a match in those, it isn't like completely engaged stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully they get some matches. Hopefully the Andre Battle Royals is going to be moved to that instead of the SmackDown.
I would be a fan of it. AEW Wardlow. He's no longer on the website's roster. That does not mean he's out of AEW. I saw some people falling for that. Of course, MJF has him under contract, so his AEW contract. Damn it. His AEW contract is tied to MJF, even though Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution Championship match, where he gets the championship opportunity down the line in AEW. His former boss in AEW, MJF, is saying that's not going to happen, and you're not going to be anywhere in the company. And he referred to him as Waldo on social media, tweeting out a link of the roster, saying, "Where are you? Where are you, Wardlow?" Saying he's not with the company anymore. So what is this? Explain this to me. This is clever.
Well, MJF, technically Wardlow is an employee of MJF and still is an employee of MJF even after he turned on him at Revolution. And so if you did not watch Dynamite last night, MJF basically said, I'm going to pay you to sit at home until everybody forgets about you. Eventually, Tony Khan's going to sign him to a contract, and MJF's going to duck him for however long this is going to go on. But I mean, it's been great storytelling so far. They've stretched it out, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and what the timing is going to be. If it goes to probably going to set it up for a double or nothing match is going to be my guess.
That's something that I can appreciate from AEW, like especially from MJF, even like with his most recent interview that he had with Ariel Helwani. He was stay in character and just continue
Always.
to work the gimmick. Like I can definitely appreciate that. And even what they do off camera to what he's doing here, it was just awesome. And even like the whole thing with the contract that you work for me, this is just one long work, right? This
Yeah.
one long story.
I can't
So
believe
hopefully
people
we get the end
fell
of the
for
story
that.
later. Yeah, we hopefully get the end of the story by Double or Nothing.
I can't believe people fell for that. It's still real to me, damn it. Speaking of MJF, he was asked about Cody Rhodes leaving, and he goes, "I hope he finds happiness and makes a boatload of money."
Wow, a polite thing from Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Well, because he's probably going to go work with him eventually. I don't know.
Exactly. On January 1st, 2024.
I don't know if it's going to be this next contract.
Dude, what's a more heel thing for him to do?
Yeah.
You know, what's a more
heel
heel thing for him to do?
He said explicitly during that Ariel Helwani interview, he will not be signing any extension leading up to that January 1st, 2024.
You're going to have to give me a brand new deal.
They're going to have to give me a brand boatload of money. And even then, I may not even sign.
I just worry of what the WWE version of him is going to be.
Who knows? Maybe WWE is a completely different show before we get there, man. That's a long, long time away. The last 2 years have told us anything. A lot of things can change very quickly.
I want to slide this in as WWE has just announced it. If you're not a regular watcher of NXT UK, go out of your way to watch it next week because a rematch from NXT about 8 months ago, Ilya Dragunov against Roderick Strong is going to be on NXT UK next week. There's going to be some chops in that one too.
I feel bad for NXT UK because I'll watch it in like big chunks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like once every month or so, I'll watch a bunch of them and go through them and pick up the matches I like. And that's when I really got into Dragunov. I like him as this kind of this like Eastern European madman type character. Like it's a different version of that like unhinged character. We've seen a variation of that before, right? But his is so much more, for lack of a better phrase, different in translation, you know? And I really, really like the style there. If you're a fan of just hard-hitting wrestling, it is that. They also morphed into the idea of getting fans into a small studio show. If you like that vibe with NXT, you get that over there with much less color form being blasted at you like some people don't like on NXT. I don't like color. I don't like being all bright. I want it dingy and lights. That's what I want.
Dark.
I want Lucha Underground.
Yeah, so they have some more
gritty.
Yeah, you're if you want grit, they have that there. And it's certainly interesting here. Let's get into a story about a champion who is not booked for WrestleMania. And he had some comments about this. I know this story kind of popped up here while we were on there. I didn't mean to leave you guys hanging. I saw this, though. Ricochet, speaking to WWE Deutschland, he is the reigning Intercontinental Champion who does not have a match at this year's WrestleMania over both stupendous nights. Nights so stupendous that the Intercontinental Championship is not on the show. What say you, gentlemen? Here's what he had to say about it. I mean, there's so many people he would like to face. Addressing that. If I had to list people, it'd be crazy. The first person that pops in my mind is Apollo. An interesting choice there. Obviously, anybody in the roster. I know at the moment SmackDown is kind of full, like Drew McIntyre, Corbin. Obviously, Roman's got a match. Shinsuke has a match. All these guys, they're kind of in a spot. As far as SmackDown goes, everybody's kind of in a spot already.
Do you think he tipped his hand there, Jose, when he said there's a lot of people? Do you think they're gonna pull the trigger on that Razor Ramon memorial?
That'd be cool.
Ladder match?
I'll tell you what. I mean, the North American Championship is going to be in a ladder match at NXT TakeOver. The Intercontinental Championship has been synonymous with the ladder match. I think it's only fitting they do this Razor Ramon ladder memorial match and put that Intercontinental title on the line during that memorial.
I wonder if he tipped his hand by saying there's so many people.
I don't know about that, but he goes on to say, but he adds that Cedric would be a good one. This is a crazy one. Ali would be a good one.
Free Ali.
Mustafa Ali is obviously a guy who's sitting out his WWE deal right now, wants to be out of the company. He said that publicly, but he's still under contract. Obviously, Rey Mysterio would be a good one. Seth Rollins would be a good one. Seth Rollins technically does not have a match at WrestleMania, but we kind of all know where that was going.
Holy crap.
By the way, I do want to talk about that really quick because I had some crazy scenarios in my head on what things that can possibly happen, but we'll jump into that in just a little bit.
Holy crap. Just announced this weekend, I guess. I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't even know that this existed. This match existed. So it might have just got announced. Destiny Wrestling, Josh Alexander against Johnny Parkour.
Whoa
is right.
Johnny Parkour isn't Johnny Morrison, correct?
John Morrison. Yeah.
That's his new last name.
Johnny Parkour. Yeah.
Depends on the promotion he works for, right? Because if he's in AAA, he's Johnny Mundo.
Johnny Mundo. Right? Johnny Impact.
He's going to be Johnny Impact.
Johnny Dynamite.
Exactly.
Johnny Elite. But holy shit. Josh Alexander and John Parkour.
That whole Razor Ramon scenario, it's just another thing here. I don't mean to be mean, right? But we had it happen earlier today with the WWE 2K thing, where people saw a picture of someone with the gaming company from WWE, and they just run to a conclusion that
Ronnie, if you looked at what Ronnie said on his photo with Steph, he was trying to insinuate it.
But you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where widespread speculation suddenly becomes
the
most faded version
gospel.
Of
it's the gospel.
He was acting like there was a partnership.
And I've heard many people say you should do a Razor Ramon tribute match. You should do a Razor Ramon tribute match. But WWE hasn't said anything about it. The same way they've not said we have Cody Rhodes. But everyone's like, well, tell me the thing that all my friends are saying on the internet is true, so I can just say it's true.
Well, we'll find out Friday because
Kevin told me it was true. Damn it!
I never said that. You talked about it with me. Stop doing that.
Breaking news! Everything that comes out of Kevin's mouth is breaking news.
No, it is not. It is not true.
Friday.
My mom says I'm the most handsome boy in the world, and I don't believe that.
Obviously,
even your mother has to love you, Kevin.
Even except for MJF's mother. Friday before WrestleMania, that's already going to be intertwined with Hall of Fame. So this Friday is going to be the night to tomorrow night's probably going to be the night to find out if they do pull the trigger on what is Ricochet's plans. Are they going to do this ladder match? Right now it's probably going to be something on the pre-show with Ricochet. If it's going to be one-on-one or the ladder match or a multi-man match, you don't know. And so we'll probably get that answer tomorrow night, I'm guessing.
You have 2 nights of stuff. You have those pre-shows.
Yep.
Also, it's also worth noting Finn Balor doesn't have a match.
Yeah.
Finn Balor doesn't have a match on this show.
Probably
you know what I
mean?
mean?
Be Damian, but
I think that's probably going to be a pre-show thing.
They haven't publicly announced it yet, but shoot, I thought they were going to ramp up that feud and be a Damian and Demon thing. But
I did too, man.
Nope,
nothing. Ricky Castillo here watching us on Facebook says there's no more debrief. What did y'all think about Jeff Hardy's crazy ass last night? Legendary,
nuts, dude.
Mode. Unbelievable.
Nuts.
I think what made it cool was the fact that it was still
right there, man.
What made it cool was it was still daylight out, and so it just looked even sweeter with the daylight coming in and everything. It looks like a movie you hadn't really seen before because of the night or the daytime. And
you're so used to seeing something like that in like an arena lighting scenario.
Yeah,
so, yeah, you're right. It did, and I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh wow, this really pops." Like, seeing the daylight,
Here you go. Here's a good one. That's a good one for you, Jeremy. Steven Chambers here. Put LA Knight in the main roster. Have Ricochet do an open challenge for the Intercontinental title. And who's going to face me? LA Knight. And
that is not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, he's going to lose to Gunther at Stand and Deliver, and that'll be probably his last NXT match, much like it's going to be Ciampa's last NXT match against Tony. I'd love to see LA Knight at WrestleMania, man. I mean, the journey that guy's been on from being in WWE long before that, scratched and clawed in the Indies, and then getting that break as Eli Drake in Impact, and then being in the NWA, tagging with James Storm. It's been a long journey for this guy. So for him to be on WrestleMania this year would be truly tremendous. But Vince has finally come around on the guy, so his future is going to be bright in the WWE, I think.
So much to cover, and we did it all in one episode
stuff
here. All in one episode.
Before we head out here, I know we only got a handful of minutes, but I did want to pick both of y'all's brains since we've been reporting extensively on Cody Rhodes over these last few weeks and speculating on what's going to happen, reporting on what's possibly and reportedly internally going to happen. So I want to throw this scenario out to you guys just because of the pattern that I've been noticing with Roman Reigns. Every time we got a big-time Roman Reigns matchup, after he has that matchup, he gets interrupted after his victory by a big returning star. We had it with John Cena. We had it with Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
What if that's the spot they put Cody in?
I think they're dead set. I think they're dead set on it being Rollins. And he's been away. Cody's just been away.
This is a what-if scenario, Kevin.
This ain't your fantasy booking, Kevin.
Would it be wild? It would get a reaction.
Yeah.
And it would also be a layered reaction because you're also thinking it's just him and Rollins, So the swerve is the swerve, right?
Yeah.
But is that good in the long term? I don't know. I'm a fan of him and I'm a fan of him and Rollins being there. And you're not going to do one match. You're going to do a handful of them because they're very good wrestlers together and they're very good personalities.
I saw
you have Rollins come in and go off and say, like, you left. You literally formed the competition to destroy this company that gave you a livelihood and made you who you are. And I don't care who your dad is. Like, you were a WWE guy before you were, like, you know what I mean? Like, and Rollins is the guy. I literally interviewed him about it, and he was this wasn't a gimmick. He's like, I am so proud to be in the WWE. I am jacked to be in the WWE, and apparently that's something I'm not supposed to say I'm happy to do. And he's one of the guys in WWE is very much. I mean, he's not going to come out and like crap on anybody. But he's like, I'm not going to listen to somebody who wrestles in a bingo hall telling me I'm not the man when I'm wrestling in a football stadium in WrestleMania. That was kind of, I'm paraphrasing here, but that was what he laid out to me. And that was in 2019. Who was the guy in 2019 going at WWE the hardest with the biggest platform to do it? And that was Cody Rhodes. So there's a lot of story here that writes itself well after WrestleMania. And you have a lot of gas on that. Keep Cody and Rollins together. Let's do something fun into this.
I saw a scenario last night where basically Rollins comes out at WrestleMania acting nuts as he has been, and then handcuffs himself to the ring and says that WrestleMania can't continue until he has a match at WrestleMania. And then boom, there you go. Bring in Cody.
And it's very similar to what they did with The Undertaker and John Cena several years ago. And you build and build and build and build and build. I was at Chicago. That crowd chanted Cody. They wanted Cody. They knew where it was. They were smart. They got it. But anyone who's mad about this, like, they never told you he's coming. You have created this monster yourself.
And there is the rumor. There is the rumor that Cody, the winner of Cody and Seth, would be taking on Roman Reigns next at WrestleMania Backlash. So
makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, all right, win a big match, get a title shot. What's bad about that idea? I'm into the
which
idea.
Is interesting because for the longest time I thought Brock was going to go over Roman Reigns. Now it's not that. Now it doesn't seem like that is going to be the case. And so for Cody to be the guy, to be the first guy to pin Roman Reigns in 29 months, 29 months, 29 months. October of 2019 is when Baron Corbin defeated Roman Reigns. Last time he's been pinned. So I've said this on this show many times. I don't think Brock is the one to end that, and it would be tremendous if Cody ended that. That would just that'd solidify all the reports that Vince is going to push him to the moon if he comes over to WWE.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can do this a little bit as a tease. I know I'm awful at teasing people, but this one's worth it. I taped an interview with John Ryman and Julie Harrison, former writers of WWE. And they worked. This isn't like, like Pritchard doing it, where he used to write it. He only talks about like stuff from the 90s. No, they wrote for WWE in the last 5 years. They wrote for Bray Wyatt. They wrote for the Funhouse. They wrote for the Kabuki Warriors. They wrote on WrestleManias in the past 5 years. Okay. And John, I asked them for pitches. Give me your pitch. If you're in the writer's room now, what would you pitch for WrestleMania if you didn't just have a pitch, you had the pencil and you just write it down and say, this is what we're doing. And John Ryman gave me a hell of a pitch for the ending of WrestleMania that I think you all need to stay and wait for. That'll be dropping on our channel sometime during WrestleMania week.
Look at that tease.
And let me just say, this is quite the pitch. If you like fantasy booking, this one is a wild scenario.
When we go off the air, we're going to make Kevin tell us too. So
I don't know if I have to tell you.
Yep, you do.
I don't think I have to.
Yep.
I'm not gonna.
Let's wrap up.
I'm the buzz killer today. All right.
I'm afraid I got some buzzkill.
That's the wrap up signal. You can follow Jeremy Bennett with all of his buzzkills on Twitter at JB Huskers. You can follow Jose_G_official on the Instagram, on the TikTok, Make It Rock, on the Twitter. You can follow me at Kev Kellam. Hear me on the radio on Rockford's 104.9 The X. I will finally maybe be in a studio for the first time doing radio for almost 2 years tomorrow, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy. I haven't seen you in a studio since before the pandemic, Kevin.
Yeah.
I remember when you used to broadcast from WrestleZone from the Chicago, the
NBC Tower.
It was NBC Tower, man.
Yeah. So I've been doing it from home. That's really crazy. And so hopefully I get to do that. I'll be in Rockford tomorrow night doing stand-up comedy at the Stockyard Bar and Grill. So definitely try and come out. All the info is going to be on my Twitter at Kev Kellam. If you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling. Subscribe to our side channel, Wrestle Binge. Support the channel. Why haven't you given it a like? A simple like. You just press a button, and it helps us climb up the internet algorithm ladder, okay? All right? Help us march to 27,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a simple sub button. Tell your wrestling friends about it. Michael Lee gets it. He says Sportskeeda rocks. You guys are the best. No, Michael, you're the best because you understand one important thing, which is what, gentlemen?
Enjoying wrestling.
Yeah.
Where's
my WrestleMania match? Yeah.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.